Welcome to Travel Stories with your hosts, Tom Kim and Trevor Mountcastle. This episode, we talk about, Tom, we talk about your travel to Middle-earth and beyond, to perhaps one of the most aspirational destinations that I think we have on the planet.
I've heard it called ME, but usually Middle East is what I hear a little bit more than Middle Earth. I think if I want to go to Hobbiton, I got to go to like New Zealand or something.
You know, I'll give you that. I had a colleague, 25 years ago, and he had gone. He had actually served there, and he used to call it Middle Earth. And for one reason or another, I sometimes interchange Middle Earth and Middle East. But yes, we're talking about transiting Middle East, going to
among other places.
Yes, among other places. Yeah, you had like. I'm looking at our show notes here, and I'm already exhausted just reading how you got there and back. Not even talking about the actual destination.
Yeah, I think total door to door on the way there was more than 48 hours. So, not the shortest trip.
And let's see, you had 1, 2, 3, 4. What was it? 6 legs just to get to your hotel.
That's about right. Let me think. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, probably 5. Okay, 6 if you include the speedboat transfer. So
I was including that.
Oh, okay, 6 if you include the speedboat transfer. You're correct.
So you were
5 modes. Yes,
6 legs across 2 modes of travel.
Yes,
between true beds.
Well, there was an overnight stay in the middle there.
Okay. At least, but it was 6 legs just to get to
quite the journey. Regardless, I think if I'll take some credit for not the most what do you call it, direct route, but pretty point efficient, I think.
Okay, so let's get into it, right? Let's talk about it, and then I'm going to ask whether or not that was as optimal.
Oh, there was definitely a point where I was questioning life decisions made. So definitely can go into that.
Okay. So let's cut to the chase. Let's tell our listeners, where did you go that it took 6 legs just to make it to your destination?
One of my happy places, the Maldives. I know you've appreciated it too. This I think this is probably going to be my 4th time to the Maldives. This past Memorial Day weekend.
I was chatting with one of your friends that has been friendly to me, because they joined you, and I said I asked how Mr. Maldives was, and her response is, well, he's only been here 4 or 6 times. I thought you'd been there 10. I mean, I feel like you are the Mr. Maldives.
It's not, and this is after quite the hiatus. I realize, I don't think I've been back to the Maldives since maybe 2017 or something like that. So it's been a good number of years, right? That's what's that, 9 years or something like that?
Wow. My gosh, did they revoke your VIP pass?
No, it's just, there have been other places to go. After the 3rd time, I was like, yeah, I've been there, done that. Didn't need to really go back. And honestly, it really wasn't even on my list. It's actually my friend's birthday. She was turning 50. And there was decided to go there. And I guess I was asked if I would join. And I was like, well, okay, yeah, I'll go. So,
I mean, the half-century mark, when someone calls to celebrate their half-century mark and wants you there, you pretty much pick up and go.
Of course.
And
yes.
and so absolute bravo to you. And I don't know if she's a listener. We won't call her name out unless you want to. But we will definitely wish a belated happy birthday.
We should have her on Travel Stories one day. She's just a good friend of mine, and common, very, very frequent travel companion.
And just an absolutely awesome person.
Hmm.
having had the chance to travel and meet multiple times. Absolute awesome person, and so happy that you were able to help celebrate her 50th. Although we shouldn't be saying that. My gosh, you don't talk about a woman's age.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we didn't mention her name. It's okay. She probably doesn't listen to this anyway. Um, but
Okay, so
no,
let's get
yeah.
to your
Enough
journey.
tangents.
So
Enough tangents.
no, it's just color, additional
Okay.
color. We're trying to build
Context.
a storyline,
Gotta
a
give the
narrative.
background.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
so starts at DCA. So I get dropped off at our lovely Reagan National Airport, one of the ones that I frequent frequently.
Gotta ask,
Flying
which
Delta
lounge?
today. Yeah.
Which lounge? Did you go Amex?
Sky Club. There was a lot of Sky Club on the outbound.
Sky
So
Club. Ah.
Sky Club in Reagan, and I didn't really feel a need to go anywhere else. I mean, that seemed to be
Well,
perfectly fine for me.
and I'm sure our listeners remember, but I just have to kind of remind our listeners just because I feel the need, because I've leveraged this lifetime Delta Sky Club pass of yours so
Mhm.
many times.
Yes.
This is perhaps your single best investment, and this trip just increased that investment value.
Well, I was entitled to it as a lifetime Delta Million Miler Gold, because as a
Oh, really?
SkyTeam Elite Plus member on an international flight, and I was flying coach guys on Delta, but I'm entitled to lounge access as an international SkyTeam Elite Plus member.
But you also have the lifetime
I do
Delta
also have
Sky
the
Club
lifetimes.
lounge
Yes,
access,
I
which
do.
you can access whether you're flying on Delta or Frontier or Spirit. Well, okay, maybe not Spirit.
Not Spirit anymore. No, that would be a little difficult.
I slid that one in there.
But no, that
No.
is one of the big advantages of having the lifetime membership at this point is not only is it an executive membership, so you can get two guests whenever you want, but you don't have to be flying Delta to access those Sky Clubs, both on arrival and departure. So the
Yeah, you don't
access
see that much
rules.
nowadays.
Yeah, and actually Delta does allow arrival, but for those of you who have a need to go run to the restroom or grab a quick bite to eat or something to drink, and you have Sky Club access through your Amex Plaid or something else that day, be aware that Delta does allow access on arrival. So
I think I'm going to see, I've got an upcoming flight to Chicago, and they have a Sky Club lounge there, right? Over in T5.
a very nice one. One that I've yet to visit, but I definitely want to.
Yeah, if you see my eyes going to the right, I might be trying to see if there's Delta award availability going to Chicago, and I might just see if I can try that out because I've got an overnight in Chicago coming up.
Oh,
So
yeah.
so great tip that you shared. I appreciate that selfishly and for our listeners.
Yep.
Okay, so you start out at the
Mhm.
Delta Sky Club Reagan National.
Yep.
I'm sure you enjoyed a wonderful glass of champagne, maybe even got yourself a bottle of Le Grand Dame on Miles.
Not this time. No, first of all, I wasn't in your company or some other people that we know that would very much take the opportunity to buy a bottle of Vouv or something from
So you
from the
had
Sky
no
Club.
bad influences.
No bad influences on the trip. No. I had some champagne, but not too much. But definitely not in the Sky Club. But I did have something very rare. I was upgraded on my short little jaunt from DCA to Boston.
I thought Delta only sold those nowadays.
I thought that too. This is like on a Virgin. This is a Virgin Award. Of course, I put my Sky Miles number in it, but they upgraded me on that DC Boston flight, which is not a very common occurrence. Of course, very short and not really much to it, but
And you didn't
still
even
kind of fun.
have to do the Joe Petrovic trick that we talked about in episode 78, right?
No, this was
That's
complimentary, complimentary as a Delta Gold.
We don't hear that very much.
No,
I mean, with Delta or anything, but especially not Delta. So that's great. So you get to Boston.
Yep. And Delta operates out of 2 terminals in Boston. They're in I think the Sea Gates and I'm already forgetting what the letters are, but they're they basically operate at opposite sides of the airport, right? Because they've got.
Well, isn't there the one that's the A gates that are completely separate?
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got the Sea Gates, which is the international with that
Yep.
beautiful, beautiful, way high ceiling.
Yes.
And it's also a half-hour walk from the Chase Sapphire Lounge, if I recall.
And I ended up not being able to go to the Chase Sapphire Lounge. I was thinking I was going to go, but
And that's a
mainly
nice one.
because
That's a
it
beautiful
is a
one.
nice. I've been there before, which I would have probably contemplated exiting the airside, getting back landside, and then coming back in to be able to access it if I'd never been, because I had a long enough layover. But when I
Wait,
saw that,
so were you in A gates or C
I think
gates?
we're within A gates. So I think the domestic flights are primarily coming out of the A gates for Delta, and the A gates also have its own lounge, which I also visited. I visited just very, very, very briefly just to take a look. Um,
Yeah, but
and
if you got to the Sea gates are connected.
they are
Now I got to do some
connected
like.
via bus. So you go to on like a little jitney bus that connects the two gates. The international part of Logan and kind of the A area where the rest of Delta is located. Again, I wasn't aware of this. I thought like A and C or something would be connected airside. Nope. You have to go. You have to leave the secure area to connect to the other gates. Apparently. So I think C and D are connected, so you can kind of walk between those, but I don't think you can. You have to go landside in order to be able to connect to some of those other gates. At least if you're flying Delta.
Oh, okay. Wait. Oh, I had to pull a map up.
Yep.
So I think B, C, and E are connected, but A is not.
Yep. You have to go out.
So
Not airside. There's not an airside connection.
so you flew into A,
Mm-hmm.
and then where'd you fly out of?
I think I flat out of whatever the international is. Is it D
E.
or
Echo.
it's E? Okay. So then
Well,
it's Echo. Sorry.
As I look at this, I don't see a Delta.
Oh,
I mean, I don't see a
maybe
D.
they skip it. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like they skipped it. Yeah. So the Chase Sapphire Lounge is B,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a hall compared to E, but they're all
Yes.
connected. Other than it looks like a subset of A. Yeah. So you took the little jitney.
I took the jitney.
Jitney's not a word that we usually hear. In fact,
I don't know I don't know if they actually called it a jitney. I think I heard the term jitney at some point, and I think Delta likes to use that word at least at JFK. Like I feel they actually call it
Really?
a jitney or something at JFK because they have this kind of bus system there too.
Okay, so talking tangents, I learned the term jitney when I was going back when I went to Bermuda.
Oh,
Because
okay.
they call it's like a little van. I mean, we're talking like a little van type transfer,
This was not a
and they
little
call
van.
that a jitney.
This was a legitimate bus, but still a little bit annoying because it was kind of raining and they opened up both sets of doors, which was kind of dumb because you kind of if you had your rollerboard bag, you wanted to put it kind of in the storage area at the front, and then there were people coming in through the front too. So I'm like, oh, come on, guys, why are you making chaos like this unnecessarily? But anyway, I saw the Sky Club in A, hopped on board the jitney, made it to E. Was able to kind of compare the two Sky Clubs. By the way, the Sky Club in E and the International Gates, where they also have some Delta One area for Delta One Lounge, saw
nice.
a lot of inspiration, a lot of copycatting, I would say, with the Qantas First Lounge. I don't know if you've been there,
Really?
but yeah, a lot of because they've got that kind of like wing concept. I think copied a little bit from an architectural standpoint.
Very cool. Yeah, I peered inside, but I just didn't have. So we were there last year for I want to say it was like 8 hours in that terminal, and
right. Didn't you
like
fly? You fly Delta out of Boston that time too, didn't you?
No, I flew JetBlue.
Oh, you JetBlue. Okay.
Yeah. So we flew. Oh my gosh! I think we flew JetBlue
that's right.
in and out.
You flew Mint.
Yeah, Mint. And I did everything wrong as a travel hacker. Like I should have created a free cancelable American flight so I could just get into the Chase Lounge early or the Delta Lounge.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, we probably walked 20,000 steps back and forth, B to E, B to E, E to B. Oh my gosh. Yes. So needless to say, I have great memories of, or very familiar memories of that wonderful terminal. So you got into that Delta Lounge, you shared photos on, I think, your Instagram. And I have to say, I was impressed. I was definitely having some FOMO at that point.
I think Delta Lounge, Boston, definitely the E-Gate International had better catering because I kind of compared what was on offer on the two buffet areas,
Well, of course,
and
right? I mean, international is going to be
yeah, it kind of makes
international, right?
sense. So what's offered in the E-Gates was superior. Very nice clam chowder, and the of course required chicken thighs of some sort. um, the other thing that
If there's one thing we talk about more than Lufthansa first class, I think we talk about chicken thighs more than we talk about champagne. I
well,
could be wrong, but I'm pretty
it is
sure.
more of a lounge, staple. The chicken thigh seems to be more of a lounge staple than even champagne.
Agree. Yeah.
um, the other thing that they have in a couple of terminals at Logan is they do still have priority pass restaurants, and of course that was another thing I was able to exercise
They
while I was
do.
there. I had a nice steak salad over at Stephanie's, which is over there in the international terminal, which they have, I think, more than one branch. I think they got a Stephanie's in the E area, and they got a Stephanie's in like C or B or one of the other areas as
And
well.
and what priority pass are you still able to get restaurants?
There aren't very many. They're pretty, hard to come by, but I happen to still have my City Prestige card,
Oh,
and
City Prestige.
City Prestige Priority Pass still works, at least as of this past week, because I did use it several times. So
And the
including at
Emirates Gold.
and the Emirates Gold. Oh,
Yeah,
Emirates Gold is the other one that has Priority Pass restaurants.
yeah, I used it in Australia in January.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's not many left. I
Yep,
swear. I mean, it's a dying breed, and
it is a dying
we
breed.
talked last week, or last episode, I should say, about how the priority pass is sort of like the everyman's, or the I can't remember the specific term you said, but I mean, like the low of the low just to get into a lounge, and that lounges have lowered and lowered the value you get if you're coming in via priority pass, and so I think it's kind of fun that we're talking about priority pass in a positive note with the restaurant benefit, even though it's limited to, you have a card that's not even available anymore, and
Yes.
then I have probably a very niche card in that Emirates Gold card, and the annual fee is not great, but it's certainly nothing near your Prestige.
Yeah. The
But I
Prestige.
mean, I'll have to travel a lot to get that much value out of the
Yeah.
priority
Yeah.
pass restaurants.
Yeah, but the Prestige is a good deal. There's a reason why I keep it around. I mean, it's still 5x restaurants, 3x for my like cruising stuff, and of course, there is a fairly hefty like 500 ish annual fee. I forget what it is, maybe 495, but 250 of it is accessible as a travel credit, which is pretty easy to use. So in reality, it's not too bad.
I really wonder, and I need to put this in the show notes too, because sometimes folks see the show notes, sometimes folks are listening so closely to hear this. But I would love to hear from our listeners how many folks still have the City Prestige. I'm almost curious how many of our listeners, although we have a lot of longtime listeners and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of really
Mm-hmm.
expert people, so it would be stupid for me to say how many people actually remember the City Prestige. But it's been gone for what, 5 years now?
Yeah, it hasn't been available for new applicants, and you're right. It's at
Quite
least
some
five
time,
years.
yeah,
Yeah, quite some time.
yeah, yeah.
So,
So I
and
not terribly
there
relevant
was,
to people, but I think it's
yeah.
pretty cool.
And the interesting thing is, I was pretty close to canceling it at one point, and then I think they had changed. They decided to make some changes because they kind of nerfed the program a bit.
Oh, they
Back
nerfed
in the
that
day,
fortnight free. They
fortnight
turned it to like
free.
once.
Yep. At
Yeah,
one
that caused
point,
me to get out of it.
it had Admirals Club access. That used to be a feature of the
Oh
card
yeah, I
when I
remember
first
that.
signed up. That obviously got nerfed. They had some free golf thing, which I didn't care about because I don't play golf. But they had a bunch of perks that got
Yeah.
nerfed, and they brought a lot of other stuff back. And then right now, it's just a keeper, obviously, because it's one of the few that has the priority pass restaurants, and then it's got pretty good multipliers on everything else that I spend a lot of money on. So I'm very happy with it as being in my wallet.
A great card
Yeah,
to have
but
if you still have it.
yeah. But
And
going back to the trip, pretty uneventful. Again, pretty long layover in Boston, couple hours. Flew
but that wasn't your
coach.
longest layover on your way
No,
out, right?
no, it was not. A flew coach on the way across the pond over to Barcelona from Boston on a venerable Airbus 330. This is probably an old Northwest bird, probably if I had to guess.
That old,
Um,
huh?
well, the 330 COs, I think that in the Delta fleet, I think they came over from Northwest because, Northwest was kind of a trailblazer. Delta was mostly a Boeing fleet, when they acquired Northwest. And it's only after they kind of integrated with them that they started, I guess, liking the Airbus 330 line and started ordering more 350s and other things, right?
They have such a varied fleet now.
They really
Like
do.
I think they have a far more diverse fleet than even United and
I would agree with
and
that
American,
statement. I would agree with that statement.
because they've got 350s, they got 350s from LATAM, they've got 330s, they've got 767s. Do they have 777s?
They had them and they got rid of them during the pandemic, so they had a very small fleet.
Oh yeah.
And they had just remodeled them, and they decided to get rid of them. I think some of them ended up at like Air India and some other places. These former 777s that were
Best
left
aircraft in their fleet, I'm sure.
yeah.
I'm
It
sorry.
might be. It
I
might be.
shouldn't. I shouldn't disparage.
Yeah.
I've never flown Air India. We have friends that have, and so we've gotten, shall we say, pointed comments,
Yeah.
but never flown ourselves.
Up till now, no Dreamliners, but I think didn't Delta put in a Dreamliner order not too long ago,
I
or
don't
maybe
remember
it was a
actually.
Max order. I'm getting confused. Some on the fly producing happening
On the
right now.
fly,
On the fly.
they ordered, apparently in January. They ordered up to 60 787-10s.
There you go. It's about to get
Your
even more
memory
varied,
is
right? Because that is their first. Northwest was going to be one of the launch customers of the 787, but they canceled those orders
wow,
after the
really?
merger. Yeah.
I'm curious what show they actually announced this at.
Yeah, I'm not sure which air show they announced it at, or if it was some sort of other political event or something. But the
Yeah, they
Delta
don't
fleet
say.
is an interesting fleet. It's got an interesting mix, and it's interesting that they, for being one of the big three airlines, the fact that they are not a 777 customer, that's one of the most interesting things. Is of the big three, they're the only ones that don't fly the 777.
It boggles my mind. I mean, Lufthansa doesn't fly the 777 either, and I mean, but they have like
But they're the launch customer for the Dash 9.
that's true. Well, but do you remember what Karsten Spohr said about that? Right? His answer was, well, if we didn't do it, then Emirates was just gonna run the table, and so we had to
Mm-hmm.
do it for self not or self survival or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
because they had to get some level of influence in the design, and if they didn't sign up for one, because Emirates is the launch customer for. One is I think what Lufthansa is the launch customer for 777-9X, and then Emirates is 10X.
Maybe.
Oh, okay. Either way, it's one and the other, and whatever the longer range version of the 777X is, literally the only area you couldn't make in like nonstop from Dubai was like Easter Island or Christmas Island,
Mm-hmm.
and that was by design, because Emirates wanted that distance. They wanted to be one stop to the world, and Karsten Spohr was very clear in saying, "Hey, that's not our business model, and we need to influence this." And
Well,
I
I don't
think I
know.
remember seeing him say that like, what, 10, 15 years ago,
Yeah,
or
but
however long it was.
I will say I'm not terribly impressed with the leadership at Lufthansa in general. So
I'm
I
I'm
know
just
I
saying,
know that you've got a warm place in your heart for them, but eh, sometimes the fleet and business decisions that they make over there, they seem somewhat somewhat like they're a board of clowns.
Well, but their fleet decision is completely different, right? Their fleet decision is because they have Lufthansa Technik, and so they've got to have one of every aircraft.
And
I mean,
Delta
it's not a
probably,
business decision.
I think Delta probably feels the same way, because they
Oh yeah,
also,
they have
their
that.
tech ops is a pretty big revenue maker for them, not just an area where they're spending money. That they make quite a bit of money servicing other jets and other doing tech ops for other airlines.
I suppose they're not doing a lot of 777 work on tech
I
ops
guess
stuff.
not, but it's not like they didn't have the experience they used to, and I bet they still do have parts and are able to service them. But
Isn't it kind of interesting that the two tech ops airlines that have rather substantial tech ops that we're talking about, neither of them have 777s?
It's so odd. You're right. It's very strange.
I mean, it's like it's a mainline aircraft. It is like it is the backbone of some airlines
of transcontinental flying in this era
of overseas flying. Yeah.
Yes.
And two major tech ops organizations and airlines don't have them. Okay. Let's get back.
Tangent ended. Tangent over.
So you flew to Barcelona on
in economy over the Transatlantic.
Over the Atlantic.
Yes.
In an antique A330.
I did have an empty seat next to me. Actually, it was interesting because I'm sitting on the Delta app looking at the standby passengers, right, to see if anyone was going to sit next to me, because the seat map didn't have anybody next to me, and I was constantly refreshing the standby list. Say, is anybody they're gonna put a non-rev next to me? Are they putting a non-rev next to me? Because it was actually a pretty full flight. There were not too many empty seats. And
so the pressure grows. The pressure grows. The suspense.
Yes. And they're about 5 minutes to closing the door, and then I see a whole bunch of people added to the standby list, and then I see, oh wait, damn it! One of the seats, there's like a 35A, and I'm in 35B, and then I was like, oh, gutted.
Wait, why are you in the middle, or is it back there?
It's a A and B or window and aisle. It's
two.
Yeah,
because the aircraft tapers.
It tapers, but I think the normal cross section in a 330 is 232.
Oh, okay.
Because of the width of the aircraft. So, or it's 232 or 242. I sometimes forget.
Yeah.
And so I was gutted because I was like, oh, somebody at the window seat. But, as it turns out, that person never boarded. So I feel like they process all these standbys, the non-rev standbys. My guess is there's usually a bunch of people that put in for the seats and they don't show up, or they manage to get on a different flight, that same day.
Maybe they saw a business class seat and just said, I'll stop here.
Yeah.
I mean, non-revs, they do what they want. I'm kidding. I'm being completely facetious here, but so you had your own, you had your shoulder space.
Yeah, I had my shoulder space.
Not quite a ghetto lay flat, because
don't have a
two
whole
seats,
row,
not a lot.
3 or 4 across to myself. I did just to say this, I had that on the way back, but I think I was more comfortable on this 330. I'll get into that when we talk about the return. But yeah, I had, but my luck of having an empty seat next to me in coach over the Atlantic, I'm on a streak. I'm on a streak, my friend. It's been, I'm like 3 or 4 legs across the Atlantic with poor man's first class. So, and I got maybe 2 hours of sleep on this flight. So, which is a lot. I think by the time there was meal service, I watched maybe a little bit of a movie, and then I was kind of tired, so I tried going to sleep, and I tried going to sleep, and then 1 hour into trying to go to sleep, I think maybe my eyes started to close, and then I was woken up probably by them starting to serve breakfast.
Oh man.
Probably.
Yeah, I guess it is a quick flight, but
it's a quick flight. I mean, that's this is one of the reasons why I know we haven't gotten you over the Atlantic in coach, but I've been flying a lot of coach over the Atlantic, and I'm happy with it. I think it's a good value.
I get 3 or 4 hours of sleep when I fly in business for first, right? I mean, I get my meal done early.
Yeah.
right? I get my meal done in in a couple hours. I generally fall asleep before I've seen an entire movie,
Hmm.
and more often than not, I pretty much just tell them, "Don't bother waking me up until like
Yeah.
5 minutes before I have to change out of my PJs."
Right.
And so if I'm skipping a breakfast, if you're flying a premium cabin, you're going to get some sort of breakfast in the lounge anyway, because how often do we actually arrive right into the city that we want, uh, for better or for worse? Anyway, so you get into Barcelona
Hmm.
on 2 hours of sleep,
Yep.
and you
And I
took a
have a
different
long
strategy.
layover. I have a long
Y-
layover.
How long? Eight
I
hours?
think we landed in Barcelona around 8-ish, maybe 9. Maybe we were a little delayed, so it might have been closer to like 9:30, something like that. So we by the time you get off the plane, it's probably closer to 10.
Okay.
I get off. Of course, there's an option here. I could enter Spain, and I
And
see
you
two
got what,
choices.
8 hours?
I got enough time that if I wanted to, I could probably enter Europe
You can go see the
and
Gaudi, what is
yeah.
it, the Gaudi
But
cathedral
but
thing?
I didn't feel too much like I had that much time. I mean, so the flight, I think that the next leg was leaving sometime around 3, probably boarding around 2 or something like that. So, it wasn't
So
it
you got
wasn't a
like two,
ridiculous
three
amount of
hours
time.
if you actually left, right?
Yeah, by
Yeah.
the time you exit the airport, get through security and all that other stuff, and customs, and make your way into the city, which the Barcelona airport, it's not super far, but it's not super close either.
It's definitely not close.
It still takes a little bit to get into to Barcelona proper. So I decided to take the transfer, and at first I thought this is the right decision because I saw the lines for entering Europe, and it was backed up. I mean, it was the whole plane essentially I felt was in line, along with
Well,
probably some other people.
and this is the ESS, which
I think it was.
I think this is the second podcast in a row that we've talked about ESS, and I
Well,
don't think we have actually used what
it's probably worth
ESS stands
mentioning.
for.
It's probably, I don't even know. Yeah, but it's probably worth mentioning because again, you're going to start seeing these longer than usual customs lines when entering Europe, with any of the countries that are subject to this.
Yeah, and just making good on what we didn't do last episode, but and it's the simplest. It's the EES.
Oh,
It's
okay.
the entry exit system.
How simple
How
is that?
easy
I
of
know.
an acronym is that? And yeah, so more and more reports that we're hearing about this, right? Lines are long, it takes time, and also starting to hear the machines are breaking.
Yeah.
I mean, I really wonder, and I think we talked about this in the last episode, and we probably don't want to spend too much time now, but I'm literally wondering, at what point does the EU say, yeah, maybe this was a bad idea, we weren't prepared, we're going to start dissuading people from actually coming here? Because at some point, people
Mm-hmm.
are going to see how horrible it is now, and I mean, I don't. I'm going there next month, but after that, I'm not planning a trip. I
I'm going the
love
next
Europe.
one too,
I'm
but
like Mr. Europe. You call me Mr.
I know
Europe,
you are Mr. Europe
and
that
I
way.
have no desire to go back to Europe
Yep.
until they figure this entry exit system out. I mean, I don't want to be in a long line coming in, get off a long flight, you're a little jet lagged, you're bleary eyed because you only had 2 to 4 hours of sleep,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to go in, you got to put your fingers on this thing, you got to wait in a long line. Nobody wants that. And then
No.
and then you're still connecting probably. And then to leave, the idea that you're gonna cut your trip short if you're originating someplace, and if not, now instead of having a 2 hour connection, now you need like a 3 to 4 hour connection. I
Well,
was
I
just
dodged
looking
a
at trying
bullet.
to fly my yeah,
I'm
okay.
flying to
Anyway,
Europe
I'm
in
off my soapbox.
I'm flying to Europe in about a week and a half, and I dodged a bullet because I'm flying Aer Lingus through Ireland, and as I have learned, Ireland is not subject to entry exit system at this time. So
And there is your trick. There is your trick. If you have to connect anyway, fly to Dublin, deal with Euro business a little bit longer, and you don't have to deal with EES on the way out, on the way in, and even better, on the way out, you get pre-clearance. So you just arrive, and if you arrive at your at your destination, you're just walking off as if you just came off
yeah,
a domestic flight.
I'm assuming at Charles de Gaulle they'll just stamp my passport because having entered the EU through Ireland, hopefully that's what. But well, I
Will they
will.
even have to stamp your passport?
I don't know, but I will report back
We'll
when it
find out, right?
occurs. We'll find out. But that's another travel story. Back to this
Yeah.
one. So I make the decision to go to the transit lane, which I'm the only person in the transit lane. Not a ton of people transferring in Barcelona. So I'm
Makes me think of that meme with what was it, John Travolta? He's holding his jacket and he's just like looking around, he's all alone, like, you know.
yeah okay.
Oh, come on, you don't know that
I don't know. I
from?
don't know this meme.
Oh, I'll
All
find
right,
it.
let's get back to my story.
Yes, 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 yes. Come on, you're the only one in
I'm
Barcelona
the only one
transit
I'm the only one in transit security.
wondering what everybody
uh,
knows that you don't.
Yeah, thinking I'm winning, so I'm going in through it. Go to the lounge in Barcelona, and they're like, "Oh, sir, you're too early. You know, we only accept you 3 hours before flight time." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I'm like, "All
Oops.
right, well, let me just go to the. Well, how bad can the Schengen area of Barcelona airport be? Let me go search that out." Well, 2 minutes later, like, this is it. I mean, like, Barcelona airport is like the worst place to do a layover like this, apparently, because it's like literally like maybe two restaurants, like one duty free shop, and one lounge that is your only option for all of the airlines that fly internationally.
And
It is. Mhm.
it's that big, poorly managed lounge.
Oh my
Like
God.
it's fairly expansive and it's like
It is a lot of
overlooking, like
space.
so
It's
it's
very
up.
large.
But my
It looks
gosh,
like
it
they're
was just,
trying to make it look nice,
but it was
but
uncomfortable seats and
oh
everything.
man, it was rammed. It was they could not keep up with the food, and
Well,
the food was not even good. It was horrible stuff.
and
But
and and,
before
and
we
you
even
know,
get to that, because what I had to do is I had to wait to get into that lounge, which is horrible.
ugh.
Which I did not know at the time. Like I'm just at the doorway thinking, oh, I'll wait. I'll just wait for food in this pathetic lounge, not knowing how pathetic it was. Anyway, I instead go to the kind of international lounge area where they've got, some seats and some workstations and some other things. So I sit there, watch some YouTube, try to, do some other stuff, sit there, try not to fall asleep because I'm, functioning off of 2 hours of sleep. And I am about an hour and a half into this. I'm questioning life and my decisions at this point because, I was so damn tired and I'm like, and hungry. I was hungry. I was hangry. I was tired. You know, I was running out of stuff to watch on YouTube, and
Well, and you don't
yeah,
want to fall asleep, right? Because this,
no,
as our listeners may or may not remember, you and your parents came off of a cruise at this very airport, perhaps not
yes, yes,
in this very region,
maybe not airside,
and
yes, but yes,
and
at
you
this
had your
exact airport.
backpack with your
Oh yeah,
wallet,
oh
with
yeah.
everything else stolen,
Yeah,
and so
I have like my, I've like clipped the straps for my backpack and for everything to the chair so that, it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere.
you've
Without,
learned
I was, up to like, what are the threat level, what, alpha? I don't know, whatever it is.
Delta,
Uh,
threat level
Delta,
Delta.
fine.
There you go.
So threat level was definitely high, and situational awareness was, whatever the highest setting was. But still, I was feeling kind of miserable because I was hungry and tired and bored, and realizing that Barcelona is the worst place to do a long layover. So,
Well,
and
and it makes it worse, right? Because
yeah,
there are some because Barcelona has a handful of Fifth Freedom flights, right? So like Singapore, for example,
mhm,
dumps a ton of people in there because they fly, I think, an A350 from Barcelona to Milan,
mhm,
MXP. And so, like, not only are you in an uncomfortable place for people that are trying to leave Schengen, you've also got random dumps of people that are going, from, intra Schengen, but because that Singapore flight, for example, and I'm sure there's a couple of other Fifth Freedoms, uh, uh, because Singapore's going overseas, they dump people, in the ex Schengen, I guess to make it a little easier so
right.
that when you
They don't have
finally
to
leave
differentiate
Milan, you
between the
don't have to
different
worry
people.
about.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
there were
so
random,
you're fighting with a lot of people
yeah.
for that
Well,
space.
there's some random sprints of people coming through, and I was kind of trying to find an area that was a little quieter, so I wasn't sitting like in the main waiting room. I was kind of off to the side of one of the duty free shops. But then there would still be just random families that would show up every 30 minutes or so, and then they'd leave, and then another random family or people would show up, and then someone would start coughing, and I'd be like, okay, let me move over this way.
Oh
And
no, the Ebola.
yeah,
I,
so so anyway, I make it through my my little period of time where I'm questioning my life, and then make it into the world's worst lounge or Europe's worst lounge at Barcelona. And I am actually going to say it is the worst lounge I've experienced in Europe.
I I I, I want to disagree with you, but I think if you take
Tell
your
me I'm wrong.
experience, I think
Tell
if you
me I'm wrong.
I think if you take your experience in context,
Yes.
then yes, I agree. But I mean, there are some other subpar lounges across Europe.
Well, you would think like a fairly well-traveled city like Barcelona. I mean, it's an embarrassment.
Oh, you would
It's
expect a premier lounge.
Yeah.
Maybe not premier, but you would expect a high-class lounge.
Yeah.
High-tier lounge.
I mean, if I'm in Madrid and I go to, let's say, if I'm at Barjas and I want to go to the Iberia Lounge, I mean, it's not like that's an amazing lounge, but I mean,
you're going to expect nice stuff.
They can at least keep up. Like, they're at least not going to be like half the tables with empty glasses on there, which is what you experience at Barcelona. They're like, and the food offerings are like, first of all, it's a gigantic carb fest. It's like, oh, sandwiches and pastas and things like, okay, yay, like the cheap stuff.
And the sad part is the part that I remember most out of that, because like the sandwiches and all that other stuff was just so poor.
Yes.
The thing I remember is they had like a decent sized wine fridge of like, they had cava, they had prosecco, they had like rosé, they had like 4 or 5 different varieties of like bubbles, which as we're talking about this now makes me think that their strategy was, let's just placate them and hope that they don't notice how
well for us non-drinkers there was no placation. They did have Coke Zero, so I at least had something to drink on, but even though I was hungry, I didn't find a lot to eat there.
No, they're just and what
they had a hard time
was
keeping up. I mean, if you did find something interesting, you'd have to go and swoop in quick, because it was like a bunch of seagulls were running through.
You know what it reminded me of?
What's that?
It reminded me of the lounge in oh gosh, where were we? We were just there. Not Mallorca.
In Malta?
Malta. It reminded me of the Malta lounge.
No, Malta lounge was so much
it was
better.
like it reminded me like a half the quality of the Malta lounge.
Yeah, no, Malta's far better than this lounge. And it was just rammed. It's a huge lounge. There's a lot of space, a lot of square footage.
But they just
too many people have access.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay. So
I think we can move on. I think we've endured a lot here.
At this point, our listeners have endured a lot.
They have endured a lot. But you know what? We're about to go to another happy place.
Oh! Let's get us to our happy place, Tom.
Well, it's flying Qatar business, because that is now what I am doing the rest of the way to the Maldives. Strangely enough, not in Q suites though. This is like one of the interesting things. Is like I had 2 successive flights, not Q suites.
Tom, you build me up, and then you just let me down.
Well, I love me some Q suites, but it's still the same pretty much service, that you get in Q suites. It is a little less space, and actually they're in. I think on the 787, if I remember correctly, I think there is a door. It's just not very much of one. So
there wasn't when I used to fly it.
I think the newer 787,
the newer ones
which is what I was on.
Is it still a reverse herringbone?
Still reverse herringbone. I think it's an 880th seat. I think if I'm not mistaken. Again, I was comfortable. I had amazing sleep because again I was functioning off of 2 hours of sleep the previous evening, and I was exhausted.
Did you even have time to eat dinner?
I did eat dinner, and it was delicious. Okay. It was great. It was a wonderful dinner. I'll for our YouTube viewers, I'll put up some photos of what dinner consisted of. And I thought it was one of the better dinners that I've had on plane. I had
I don't
a
think I've
lovely
ever had a bad
tenderloin.
meal.
Yeah, it's a lovely soup, lovely tenderloin. And then I had both the cheese plate and the fruit plate at the end, and all of it. I consumed all of it. It was all delicious, and I was hungry after my interlude in Barcelona.
Yeah,
And
I don't think I've ever had a bad meal either in a Qatar lounge or a Qatar play on a Qatar
yeah,
flight. It truly a tribute to them.
yes. Well, and that's what I did. And I did have time to have a reasonable meal in the Cutter Lounge. I went to the Al Marjan Lounge, in the Garden Lounge. In kind of the new area of the airport. That's where we ended
So,
up being close to.
oh, okay. I was gonna ask because uh, every time that I've flown in there, I've just had to like make the walk because I wanted it, or I guess the last time I was there, I had to make the walk because I actually wanted to see it, but we
Mm.
did not land anywhere near that.
Yeah, last
But
couple of
it's
times I've been
beautiful
there, it was
there.
always been closest to the Garden Lounge. So that's the one I've been going to the last few times I've been in Doha.
And they have
And
a like a Louis Vuitton,
they do.
or is it a Louis
They have a
Vuitton
Louis Vuitton
internal?
cafe. I will throw up some photos of that too. I didn't
Did
eat
you
in
go
there.
in?
I didn't go in. I just took pictures of the entryway, but it's located in the Al Morjan Lounge, the business class lounge for Qatar
And it is a fee
guests.
for service
It is.
versus the Al Marjan Lounge, which is completely free
Yeah.
and just completely beautiful and far more than satisfactory. I mean, very
Yes.
nice.
And in fact, for later in the episode when I talk about Etihad, this is kind of the wrong order to have done this because having done Qatar Airways and then flown
Yes.
Etihad
I
is
mean,
is kind of going from, oh, you've experienced the really good stuff, and then you're like, oh wait, everything is one notch not as good. So
Qatar is half a notch below first class.
it really is. My
Like
biggest problem with Qatar was I kept forgetting it. Wait, this is business class. This is not first. So I was constantly comparing it to first class, and I'm like, wait, that's right. This is not first class.
and it's still pretty dang competitive, though.
It really
Right?
is very competitive. It really is. So once
Oh,
once again reaffirmed, even in non-Q suites, that my flight from Barcelona to Doha, excellent. The lounge
but
experience, excellent. Had time. I had a tenderloin and some halibut in the lounge, delicious. Enjoyed my another meal there. I had a shower, although. Small reminder: they don't have bathrooms in the showers, so make sure you take care of your bodily functions before you take your shower.
that's the oddest thing. Like
It is the
I
oddest
don't
thing.
think I've ever noticed that.
They did
Well, I
warn me. They
suspect.
were like, "Sir, did just to remind you, there's no toilets in the shower area." And I'm like, "Oh,
Like,
that's
why
right.
would you? That's a really odd design situation.
It's an odd
Like
design
decision.
choice. It's an odd design choice.
Yeah.
Maybe that
So
allowed them to squeeze more showers in because there definitely was not any kind of wait to get,
I could say something about that part of the world, and and
or you could
thinking
not.
that, yeah. Here, I'm gonna mark that. Let's just edit that one out.
or we leave it in.
I guess I guess we'll see who wins the that argument.
Well, we'll see who edits this episode. I'm going to take some bets. I think Polymarket is saying Tom is editing the episode, and it's
Uh-oh.
staying in.
Uh-oh. Look for that on Calshire Polymarket, huh? So you started out with a little bit of a lackluster experience. You got your upgrade going up to Boston, then you had your nice lounge, then you had your kind of tough transatlantic. Boston or Barcelona sort of started having you question your life decisions. Then you get
You know,
into Qatar
it's only
Qatar
the
business.
layover in Barcelona. I mean, everything else, even the Delta flights, I was pretty good overall with
Yeah,
those as well.
but it sounds to me like in Barcelona you got to where it's darkest before the dawn,
It
and
really
then
did.
and then here you are. You're on this trajectory. You're on just this beautiful trajectory. You're in Qatar business. Then you've got
Yes.
the Al Marjan Doha Garden Lounge, and then you are in.
Well, let's talk just momentarily about the A350-1000.
I tried to build you up.
Or no,
Okay, here we go.
A350-900. Actually, not 1000. It was A350-900, which I didn't realize that Qatar had an A350-900 that didn't have Q suites in it. This one doesn't
Yeah.
have Q suites in it.
Oh, they used to fly that to Philly. before
Uh,
American took the Philly flight,
and it's a
which I'm
very
very
unique
salty
plane
on.
because it is literally the most spacious or airy plane that I think I've sat in that I can remember.
Oh yeah.
Because Qatar is kind of copying kind of the 787 Dreamliner lobby concept, where door number 2 that you come in and there's
There's like no
absolutely
structure.
no structure. Yeah, it's just open air essentially. Because on the A350s, especially in premium, this is not the only carrier that does this. They actually remove the overhead bins in the middle section because they've got enough space, I guess, with the larger oversized bins on both sides to handle most people's luggage. So there's nothing up there. So it's just the amount of cubic space, right, that's out there above your heads. It's kind of crazy, and
Well,
the
and
seats are also kind of short too. They the monuments and the other things of the seats are pretty low, so you've got not a lot of privacy.
yeah,
Is the one downside.
the headrest is actually above the monument, the frame of the seat when
Mm-hmm.
you're sitting in like the landing position. And then they even also have a lot of space. Like I remember them having like a separate storage area just for the duvet.
Mm. I don't remember. I don't know if there was that I can recall, um, but I'll show up. I'll put up some photos of I have from the airline. So, but that was an interesting flight as well. And again, that was pretty short. Didn't get an amenity kit or PJs on that flight because it's only 4 hours long. Um,
Oh, those bastards. Oh,
I know, but still decent, still nice. Had a nice breakfast before landing, and then now you may now I'm in.
and
Well, but
now you are
I'm in the Maldives. I'm in Male, but I'm in
you're in
Male.
paradise.
No,
Almost.
no.
Almost.
I'm in
Almost.
the most densely populated island, I think, in the country, in the
Well,
world.
certainly in the country.
Well, definitely in the country. But so and for whatever reason, again, I think maybe my friends understood my point when when we finally did make it to this hotel, because it was ensconced very, very deeply within the city. It was hard to find. I'm glad, and actually, when I hopped into the taxi cab from the airport, there, the guy had to call. We had to call the hotel to figure out where it was.
Oh wow.
And somebody actually met me, on the street, because it was. I actually got dropped off a couple blocks away because the car would not be able to navigate into the area because the alleyways were too narrow for it to traverse all the way up to the entrance of this hotel.
That's
Um,
crazy. I mean, you're
yes,
literally on an island in the middle of the Indian Ocean, and things are so dense that a
yes,
vehicle can't. I mean, the fact that
no.
you've got a taxi is kind of a little bit surprising to me when, because everything we see, it's all like you have you have a seaplane and then you just have a bicycle, and you've got taxis taking you to these big high rises and everything.
Well, to be fair, this is like a hotel that has a nightly rate under $100. So this was not an expensive, and it was a
But it was
small
it
local
was a
operator.
nightly rate, not an hourly, right?
It was a nightly rate. Yeah, no nefarious thing. This is an Islamic country. They're pretty conservative too. But I was happy to get there, and I took a nap, and I was dead to the world until my friends arrived. So
And just for our listeners, Malé, the capital of Maldives, has an estimated density of 100,000 people per square kilometer.
it's
I
crazy.
can't even wrap my head around that.
It is the most dense place you'll ever be. I mean, it's like you think
Wow.
Hong Kong's pretty dense, right?
Yeah,
I,
you think Hong
I
Kong's dense, and look at that. Oh,
This is
wow.
worse. This is crazy.
Wow.
Um, and our
Yeah.
rooms were like, I think a cabin on a cruise ship would be immensely spacious compared to some of the hotel rooms that we're experiencing here in the capital.
Wow.
Um, but I did get to enjoy some local food. Went to the local restaurant a few blocks away. Got to enjoy some Maldivian cuisine, which, by the way, Maldivian cuisine, it almost always includes some version of tuna. So it's like tuna and coconut and scallions are in like 90% of the dishes that they serve. That's part of Maldivian cuisine.
I didn't know
So
tuna was so big.
it is huge.
Wow.
Uh, By the end of this trip, I was basically feeling like I needed to start making dolphin noises. Um,
Did you feel like you were, kind of a little bit more fearful of long swords? The tuna swords, like if you watch those Japanese videos of how they cut the tuna, they have the big long swords. I'm not even a foodie and I'm watching these
I don't know.
these
I don't know
tuna
what you're talking
carving
about.
videos. I don't know. I apparently I just watched a lot of like tuna and steak carving videos and they have some
Well,
interesting
I'll throw up some photos
accoutrements.
of some local Maldivian breakfast, which I did take some photos of. But
So did you
after a
get to
short,
tour Malay City
I
or
think
did
my
you just
friends
kind of go
walked
back to
around
the
a bit.
airport and go?
I did not. I have already done that once before, and I didn't feel like I needed to do it again. Um,
Okay.
I think it's a one and done kind of thing. I wouldn't necessarily that a dense place like that necessarily has a whole lot of to see and kind of character or anything like that, but it's good to see once at least.
Okay. So you overnight, now you are headed back to the Seaport Lounge or did you go to the new
So
terminal?
so time out. Seaport is means you're taking a seaplane. You do not take a seaplane to go to the Park Hyatt. You do take a seaplane to go to a number of the other resorts, including the Conrad, I guess the Waldorf Astoria, with St. Regis. I'm assuming where you stayed.
And,
Um,
and and you've done both. So how different is the experience going, to a non-seaplane experience? Because like I thought it was really cool because you had that seaplane terminal, you could watch all the seaplanes. It felt like you were in this like 4 or 6 story building, and it was just full of these little lounges for each each hotel. And some of the hotels, like the St. Regis, had a front page view or for a front stage view of the seaplane, whether you went out on the lanai or inside. What's the experience if you're going to the Park Hyatt? Do they have their own lounge?
so they do not. I would say
Okay.
I think the seaplane option is probably the more luxurious option.
Oh,
So,
really?
um, that being said, the Park Hyatt does have a minder that you meet or greeter. They will escort you and check you in to get on this Maldivian regional flight. This would happen to be, I think, an ATR, I think 72 or 82 or whatever the ATR version of a plane that they flew. Um, they take you to the domestic terminals lounge, which actually is interesting because that was the international lounge back in the day when that part of the building was the main terminal for Malé Airport. It has now
Wait.
since been
So they're still using that.
yes.
Oh, and that was
So
the
I
that was
walked into
the
that lounge and said, "Oh, I've been here before several times," and I realized it because this was in fact the main international lounge previously.
interesting. I actually, believe it or not, I didn't get in that lounge. How crazy is that? Like
That
I flew out of the
how
Maldives and
how, how out of character, my friend. How very out of character.
it really was.
Um,
Was it any good?
no, I mean
Like, was it
it's
better,
a
worse,
pretty
or
much better than Barcelona. Um,
okay, yeah. But like, was it better, worse than when you remember doing it when you were flying
it seemed
internationally?
pretty consistent to kind of the quality of what it was back in the day.
Okay, so
So nothing special. Um, but quiet, clean, not overcrowded, um, well
all
kept.
you could ask for.
So perfectly acceptable for this morning's 1 hour flight to Kudu. So you take basically an hour flight to Kudu, and it's nice. You do get some great views out of the window. I would say probably in some ways the ATR is probably a more comfortable experience than the seaplane. But both will give you great views of all the atolls as you're kind of going through the air. So you land in Kudu, and then you're basically met by another greeter. They put you in a golf cart. They take you like the half mile or so to the harbor area where they've got a speedboat waiting for you. They put all your luggage there. You hop on, and then you spend another 45 minutes, 45 minutes taking the speedboat to the Park Hyatt, which was our location, and someplace that I've already been twice. And as it turned out, this is my third time after 9+ years Strangely, everything was almost exactly as it was 9 years ago.
So, so let me just recap this because apparently we took an hour to get here. I'm sorry.
Yes. Well, much faster than the 48 hours it took to do it originally, but okay.
Yeah, there we go. We did. We got you here to the Maldives
48
in
times
147th or 148th of the thing. So we're talking that you had. It took a car. It took multiple planes.
Yes.
It took a jitney.
Yeah.
It took. It took a taxi in Malé. It took a
if you do a full
regional
inventory,
ATR.
we might be here for another hour.
It took a golf cart and a speedboat.
Yes.
Just to get to the park. Hyatt,
Hadaha, it is a trek.
Maldives.
It is a trek. Yes. So
I feel like this is worse than Tahiti,
which is the island in the Maldives where the Park Hyatt is located.
Okay, so tell us about. So you spent all this time. How many days did you stay there?
4 days.
Okay. So 48 hours.
Yes.
For 4 days.
Yes. And then another like 36 hours on the way back, by the way. But anyway.
Okay. So you had 96 hours on the ground.
Yes.
And it took you almost 96 hours travel time round trip.
It's about right. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. Now, mind you, these are choices I made, right?
I mean,
there are
usually
faster ways to get to the Maldives than the way I took, but
usually the journey is part of the fun, but
it is.
So I want to get to the Maldives, but I just have to ask: were your choices on the journey? Given it was 48 hours plus 36 hours, was that driven by award space? Was that driven by a good airfare?
Partially.
Was that driven by just being cheap? Since you flew a lot of economy, like I'm not trying to say you're cheap. I'm just trying to like were you being points efficient? Or,
I think it was very points efficient. I think it was very points efficient. I think the way there, well, first of all, the way there was entirely on points, including I think it ended up being about 12,000 for a coach award, DCA to Barcelona via Boston. And then another great sweet spot, right? 42,500 AA miles, Barcelona to Doha, to Malé in Qatar business class.
That's a good
Can't
value.
beat that. That's the best. Yeah. That's the best value. I think on the one of the best values on the AA award chart at this time.
And it seems to me like if you can get to Europe, the award space sort of opens up if you're going someplace other than America.
So to answer your question, I mean, it was points efficient and it was available. So that's what drove the decisions.
Okay, awesome. So tell us about the Park Hyatt Hadaha.
Hadaha. But close enough.
I was like, okay, for the record, the name is not in our show notes. I was going purely off memory.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So we spent 2 days in a beach pool villa, which is a standard, which I think you'll standard upgrade from a regular beach villa that doesn't have a plunge pool, which is a standard upgrade for globalists. And then we spent 2 nights in an overwater villa, which does require some additional money if you want to upgrade to that beyond the standard points redemption. Believe this one was $25K per night. Again, based on the new award chart and the devalued kind of thing, I don't know what it is these days, but still a pretty good value, I think, if you can get it at 25. And the Park Hyatt is...
So you burn $25K a night.
Yes.
Points, and then you had to pay some amount of money
upcharge
for the overwater
villa.
Do you recall how much?
I do not, but I'm sure it's posted somewhere on FlyerDoc. So
okay. So it wasn't so much that you that you felt like you were hurting as you were putting the money out.
No, but the other, but a lot of this was driven by my 2 travel partners who this was their first time. Because I'll be honest, having stayed at the overwater villa previously, it's a gimmick, and I'm actually much happier being in the pool villa that is on the beach. I say that because at least at the Park Hyatt, one of the big negatives, and if you're particularly climate affected by climate or temperature, the overwater villas just will not get cool in the afternoon. So you're basically, living like a vampire, like closing all the blinds, trying to like keep all the sun out, so the place is at a reasonable temperature. Because otherwise, you're going to be kind of sleeping in 80-degree climate, despite having the AC turned up to its max. So that is one of the negatives, I think, with the overwater villas.
Oh, that's a shame. I mean, you think like a 5-star hotel like this, you'd think that they'd have the ability. I mean,
Figured it out.
I didn't when we were in the
And
St.
this was a
Regis, we
problem
had no
10 years ago.
problem.
This was a problem 10 years ago as well. I remember being exactly the same as it was a decade ago.
But it's unique to them. I mean, okay, I only have one other data point, but the St.
Mm-hmm.
Regis had no problem keeping the room nice and cold.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely then
it's
a
unfortunate.
big, yeah, definitely a big thumbs up, I guess, for the St. Regis, or a reason to consider them over the Park Hyatt. One reason you may want to consider Park Hyatt, at least again, I haven't been to St. Regis, have been to the Waldorf Astoria. I haven't been to a number of the other properties, but I have been to the Sheraton, the Conrad, and the Park Hyatt. I would say Park Hyatt seems to have one of the better reefs. The
Oh,
snorkeling
yeah.
situation there is excellent. We got amazing videos. We did probably I did the most snorkeling probably I've ever done in one trip, because we were going in like 2-3 times a day into the water and enjoying ourselves and seeing tons of fish, tons of reef sharks, huge shoals and schools of fish, the variety of corals and everything. It's just stellar.
Yeah, I only have one thing to compare, but yeah, the St. Regis, at least where we were, was not amazing. So I have heard wonderful, wonderful things about the Park Hyatt. And you don't scuba. Did your companion scuba?
They did not. I think that the Park Hyatt did have a fairly exorbitant cost for hosting a scuba excursion.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and the thing
Well, and you're only
is
there for 4 days, so you don't have
you're only
enough
there for
time
4
to
days.
truly be able to go under and then, right? Because like you've got to stay, like you can't fly,
Yeah,
like
there's
there's
some
some amount of
limitations
time you have
around
to.
when you should fly after having scuba. But the the other thing that you have to understand, and this is part of the geography of the area. This is an atoll, right? And one of the things that's kind of unique about it is you'll have this lovely shallow beach area, and you step into the ocean, and you're only going to be a few feet deep, right? You're going to have lots of, like, 3 foot, 4 foot water for you to wade into and kind of adjust. But within about 100 meters from the shoreline, or probably less than even, you're going to have this incredible drop off
Oh
where
yeah.
the sea level goes from about 4 feet, 5 feet, suddenly to like this cliff, and you're in the open ocean, and this cliff goes down hundreds of feet. So it's really interesting because you snorkel out to this area, and this is where you have the most biodiversity on the reef. You get to see just amazing stuff, and it's so, for me, it's relaxing because you're sitting there. It's where the warm water from the shallow areas interface with the cooler waters from the wide ocean, and it's very, very relaxing, and the water's so clear you can just see far, far down. So even though you're not doing scuba, this is about as close as you're going to get, I think, as a snorkeler, as long as you're not too timid, because some people were and didn't want to go past the edge, because there's a little bit of vertigo. It's a little, it is a little intimidating, but
Well,
it's if you make it out there, it's so worth it.
and you probably feel the difference in the temperature of the water, right?
Oh, you
Because
do, you do.
because now it's suddenly a lot deeper. Even if you're
Yep,
not going down there, there's
yep.
the circular effect and everything. Yeah, I I have a similar experience that I had in the Seychelles,
Hmm.
and it was one of my. It's one of the things that I just remember so vividly and so favorably, even to this day.
Hmm.
And I definitely didn't have that experience in the Maldives. I probably should have explored a little bit more. We were in a little cove, and I didn't want to go too far because we were like kind of in the cove, right? So like
Yes, yeah.
if I wanted to go farther, I would have been like swimming along, like a
And my
football
guess is
field or
that in
two.
your little cove, you still saw lots of sea life, and there were lots of things to see.
Oh,
But
absolutely, absolutely.
but
But I didn't have
there's
the that deep down,
Yeah.
beautiful. Like, I mean, being able to see, 20, 30, 100 feet down.
Yes.
That and I
It's
mean,
a
I did
pretty
that in the
unique
Seychelles, and
experience.
like I said, I'll never forget it. And so
Yeah.
I'm so glad you had that, and
Yeah.
it definitely for me it says Park Hyatt's, definitely got something that's a cut above.
I think so. Having experienced some of the other resorts, and I think the Conrad's pretty good too, but I feel like the Park Hyatt has a pretty good setup when it comes to that. And it's one of those experiences that you would probably have to get on a boat and have a guided tour in order to experience normally.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, oh
and
yeah,
this is just literally you could just snorkel and go a couple hundred feet from your overwater villa, or just plunge into the water off the beach and go a couple hundred feet, or even easier, get on one of the piers because there's these two. There's the dawn jetty and the dusk jetty. Either of those have ladders that go down to the snorkeling areas and they're only a few, maybe 100 feet or less from kind of where that transition goes from the shallow area to the deep area. And again, a very unique experience, at least in my regard. Like I've not experienced that in other parts of the Caribbean or Hawaii or and one of the downsides is it does kind of ruin snorkeling for you in
everywhere
many other
else.
parts of the world, because you go in other parts and you're like, wait, you're comparing it and you're like, this is not as good,
Well, I'm here to
so
tell you that the Seychelles is still not ruined for you.
okay,
Um,
that's good.
another Indian Ocean island
Another
chain.
island chain in the Indian Ocean, so yes.
So take us to the food and beverage.
Yes.
Obviously, probably a good breakfast. We'll get there in a second. But what I remember is they usually did some sort of like an evening thing at least one night a week. Did you participate?
Yeah, so as a globalist, you receive breakfast, which is has a little buffet area, and also has unlimited a la carte entrees, so you can just continue to order whatever you want off the menu. Um, and if you are not paying for a meal package, that's probably a very smart thing to load up on breakfast. Because they do also offer, as a globalist, kind of a happy hour, a sundowner kind of happy hour where they will offer you one beverage of your choice, and they will have some canapé and some like bar snacks.
And that's
But
every night?
it's every night.
Oh, that's nice.
But
That's
it
better
is
than the
not
St. Regis.
substantial. It's definitely not enough to make a meal. It is very much like three small bites of canapé, and again, maybe they'll give you a bowl of peanuts and some other stuff. But that's it.
Peanuts are
So
high in protein.
they are. But food is definitely something you're going to have to think about in the Maldives. I love my friend my term 5-star famine, because if once you look at the menu and you're paying a la carte prices, I think you'll probably experience some 5-star famine as well, if you're probably in the Miles and Points community. Because I will tell you, $40 for a chicken Caesar salad is pretty high, and that's what they were charging USD for that.
I feel like there was lots of pizza eaten when we were there.
Yes, there could be lots of pizza eating.
I feel like
Uh,
pizza is one of those that you get a lot more value than
yes,
for what it is, and it's probably because it's all filler, right? I mean,
yes,
it's all dough, but
yes.
for better or for worse.
So we did have 2 nights where we did not have a meal plan, and then we had 2 nights where we did.
Oh, you did pay a meal plan.
We did pay for a meal
Was it
plan.
worth it?
I think it was. I believe it's 120 to go half board, and then 150 to go full board. So we went 150 for the full board, which means it was for globalists. And the reason being, I think it's a little bit discounted, is obviously because breakfast is already part of the situation, right? So really, what you're doing is paying 150 for lunch and dinner when you're doing the full board. There's also one more level above that, which is all inclusive, which would be including, I think instead of having 3-course lunch and dinner, it's 4-course lunch and dinner, and includes alcoholic beverages as well.
Oh,
Whereas
so
the half board and the full board do not include alcoholic beverage, but do include sodas and juices and teas and coffees.
I mean, which is all you needed anyway.
Yeah, for me, yes, and for our party, yes, because we were not big drinkers. Um, I think spending 150 is worth the money. So I think I would look into it. I would see if It's available. I would probably look it up because I will tell you, um, it's very easy to spend that and a lot more in one meal, let alone two. So just because of the cost of the entrees and all the other items,
Now, did they limit you on which entree to order? Like if there was a
there
steak,
might have been
did you
some
have an
exclusions.
upcharge?
No, so for instance, the Island Grill is kind of their steakhouse, and like I had a ribeye. There were like three different options. I think there might have been like a tomahawk or something that was on the menu that was excluded from the meal plan. But as you can imagine, that was kind of a special case.
It's a little
So
excessive.
yes, um, but I thought the food was generally very good. They had their head chef was an Italian gentleman that had worked at the Grand Hyatt Bali before this assignment.
Oh, well, that's cool.
So and he
Wonder
had
if
quite a few, I
either
guess,
of us ever
Indonesian
ran into
chefs.
him.
Yeah. But yeah, food was excellent. Every day, again, I did a lot of good and tasty fish. I know maybe not great for you, but for me, it was wonderful. And it did make me wonder, if I was starting to turn into a dolphin by the end of the visit, because the quantity of fish that I was eating at breakfast and lunch and other meals.
I guess it's appropriate you're wearing a blue striped shirt.
I guess it will inspire me of the environment that I would be adapting to. Um, but anyway, yeah. So I would definitely look out for some of those meal plans. I think there's some good options there. And there may even be days where it makes sense to do the all inclusive, because I think there are some buffet days or there's like a beach barbecue day. Again, I think when we were on the full board plan, I think there would still be an upcharge for some of those. I think maybe the all inclusive might have included it. So again, some
And
some different options to look at if you're looking at food and beverage options for the Park Hyatt.
I remember at the St. Regis, that beach barbecue was actually a really special day for us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we made a big deal of it. Everybody else made a big deal of it. I think we as a family all matched in
Matchy
a kind of
matchy.
aloha attire. We got a bottle of wine. They had a little happy manager's reception where which is open bar for like an hour or two, and we watched the sun go down. It was just it felt like a really a special event. Um, even the staff really were into it, and I just remember that experience so favorably. Like, I remember being so skeptical. Like, they send the note and they're like, "Hey, you really probably should consider this," and I'm like, "Oh, they're just trying to get more money out of us and this, that, and the other thing." And I was like, you know what? Let's just give it a try. And all of us were there. Like, I mean, we ran into a handful of different other couples, and I think maybe one family or two, and we were all disarmed. We were chatting. Here we are. We're all in paradise, and the staff were happy. At one point,
Yep.
one of the servers that we knew, because we'd see her, every day at breakfast and some days at dinner, took our daughter and just took her for a walk, and we were just able to have a nice little time. And so that barbecue, I know it. I know when they send that email, and you probably got an email ahead of time, right?
Probably did. Yeah, we decided not to do it. I've done
Oh,
it in the
okay.
past. I've
So
done it in the
here I am.
past.
I'm trying to sell it, thinking that you did it,
Well,
and you're like,
which I
no,
did. I did
we
it
skipped.
previously, and it is very expensive. It's $200+, per
It was
person.
pricey, yeah,
And I
but
would
not that
I would
much. The delta isn't that much compared to what you'd spend on a meal, though.
correct. So I would say definitely consider it or think about it, putting it in your plans. I mean, like I didn't regret it the time I did it, but at the same time, I don't know if I want to do it every time I go, because it is special, and it is fairly expensive. So again, we didn't do it on this one, but I wouldn't necessarily, and I'm glad we didn't, because actually the one night that it rained in at our during our hotel stay happened to be the beach barbecue night. So
Oh no! Oh
I
no!
know.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry to
as
hear.
it turned out, it was probably a good decision not to do it.
And
But
those
I wouldn't
rainstorms.
necessarily, but I wouldn't necessarily dissuade anybody. Definitely consider it, and I would actually say you're right. Think about it, especially if it's your first time or if you're doing a special occasion. It might be worth doing that.
And those
Uh,
rainstorms, I mean, a lot of people think, oh, rain, it's just going to be a really bad day. They know how to deal with that, right?
mhm,
They
mhm.
have the golf cart. They have the umbrellas. We had one rain day, and I remember it was raining so hard. At that point, my daughter was just shy of 2 years old, and she'd fallen asleep. We got her to the restaurant. They made her a little bed, a tableside bed, and they made it all work. I mean, yeah, it was raining, but I mean, it was still such a great experience, even though you got torrential downpours. Maybe
Yeah,
not as great for the barbecue day though.
yeah. I think we lucked out because other than our day of departure, we really didn't have any rain or very little.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it was the day of departure, and then just the evening before when they were doing the beach barbecue, where there was a fair amount of rain. Um, and even then, I still got some good pool time in and some other stuff. Even though it was a little damp.
Okay, final thoughts on the Park Hyatt Hadaha
Hadaha,
Hadaha
Hadaha. And,
before I start peppering you with questions about the brand new terminal that looked amazing.
ah, and I want to talk about one more thing before that, but
Yeah, go for
I
it.
will also mention two other quick things about some final thoughts on the Park Hyatt. One, that I did recognize some people. There were some people who have been working there for more than a decade.
Wow,
That I
isn't that
remember
great?
that I remembered. I even took a photo with one lady, this very cute, and so friendly Indian lady that basically brought us our drinks and our canapé every evening for the happy hour. She was the same lady that was there 10 years ago doing the same thing. So,
That's awesome.
and I recognized her, and anyway, it's so welcoming. Just the best person. Also, I found out apparently that there was a Milenomics person staying there who recognized me. I wish they had come over and said hi, but he was not sure it was me because
Oh, that's
I
a shame.
I will say there were a lot of other Asian people there. There were like 12 other Chinese people on our speedboat. When we arrived, so I could see him being a little bit concerned. Like, is that really TK from Milenomics or is that somebody else? Yeah, but
I don't know. You have a pretty
pretty
unique.
distinctive. But
Yeah, you're pretty distinctive.
you never know. You never know. So I wish that the gentleman had and thank you for listening, by the way, and I wish he'd come over and
And
say hi,
reaching
but
out, right?
but
Thanks for reaching out, right?
he did afterwards, and I love it because it's a small world, right?
Oh, especially in this community. I
It
mean,
is.
the amount of people that we run into from time to time. I mean, I'm still astonished at
How
the amount of
frequently it
people that I
happens,
just. Yeah, it really does. I mean, you're
including when
randomly
we're
on a
both.
flight.
Yes,
I just wish I knew more often. Like, I mean,
yes.
probably what 50% of the time it's like I'm in a group and I'm like, oh hey, this was a nice flight, and somebody else is like, I was on that too, and it's like I wish I could have said hello to you.
So anyway,
Okay. Yeah.
so that's it for the Park Hyatt. We made it off. We kind of did the reverse. We got on the speedboat, got on the local plane, made our way back to Male, and this time we did stay not in Male City, but we stayed on the same island where the airport is,
Oh,
in a
so
newer area.
you had to stay overnight anyway.
We stayed overnight again
Wow,
before our
that is a
international
lot of
flights.
time.
Yes. But it makes sense. It kind of helps maximize the time at the Park Hyatt because we got pretty
That
much the
is fair.
latest flight out of Kudu, and we had the earliest flight into Kudu, or the one that wasn't first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Um, but still getting us in like kind of around lunchtime or whatever. Um, we stayed at the Ocean Grand, which is again just a local hotel. It wasn't a huge hotel. Maybe had 50, 60 rooms or something like that. But it included transfer, included breakfast, which we didn't get. It wasn't included in the previous place. This one was a bit more price wise. I think it was like 120, $130 a
Not
night.
bad.
But this was beachside, so it was it had ocean views from the rooms, and you literally could go across the street. And there's public beach, uh, which I did go walk to, but I didn't really use that much because I kind of just lounged around and had a meal before my flight at this hotel. But it was nice, and I'll put up some pictures. It also is in the flight path of a lot of the seaplanes. So as I was eating lunch, every 5 minutes or so there'd be a seaplane going by, and it just very picturesque views from this hotel's restaurant, and great being able to see the seaplanes go by. So, and
A
then
lot of
they
nice
provided me free transfer back over to the
avquitas.
airport. Hmm?
A lot of nice av geekness.
It was. It was. So now we can talk about the new terminal.
Yeah, I'm excited. Okay. That new terminal looked absolutely gorgeous.
It is.
Is it fully open? How many lounges
I
do they
think it was.
have? Did they
I
have
think they have only one.
jetways?
I think they only have one lounge,
Is that
and
is
it
that the
is
plan
not
or no?
priority pass, which is I think a good thing because unlike the Barcelona lounge, this one, even though it was a hotel lounge and it forces all the airlines to use it, it was not
Wait, it was
ranked.
a hotel lounge or an
I'm sorry,
airline
the
lounge?
airport lounge. The airport lounge.
Okay.
It's in other words, run and operated by the airport.
Okay. No, that's good. That's goodness.
Contract lounge. Yeah.
So it was paid to enter, or if you were flying a premium cabin?
I think you had to be flying a premium cabin.
So you
I
couldn't
don't know
even
if there
pay
was
to
a
get
paid in
in.
it because I basically had a seat that was kind of within eyeshot of the check-in area, and I saw so many people go up and then go back
Turned
down,
around.
go
Oh.
in and then go out because I think their expectation was always is do you take priority pass? Do you take this credit card? And they're like, nope, 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 nope.
Yeah, well, and
And
that and but that's consistent, right?
it
Because like the
was,
old terminal, that lounge was the same way.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Tell us about the lounge.
Very beautiful, actually. Very modern. Again, no particularly amazing amenities or anything that were kind of outstanding, but the food offering was decent beverage options, although dry. I
Well, I
don't know
mean, the
how
whole
happy
country's
you would
dry,
be.
right?
Yeah, it's the
Other
whole
than
country's
the
dry.
resorts.
The resorts, yeah, except for the resorts, yeah. So not too much on
But that's an
offer.
important thing for our listeners to know.
But if you're expecting a drink, yeah, you might be a little bit disappointed. But anyway, it's called the Covelli Lounge. I'll throw up some photos. Very modern, great water feature at either end. Even a ball pit, so that there's a family area for
Oh, nice.
kids, and they had a little Chuck E. Cheese kind of ball pit area.
Who doesn't want a ball pit? Just before you
Uh,
get on a long flight.
I mean, I don't know what the epidemiological, and uh, virus vectors kind of thing of that maybe, but oh well. Hopefully they're sanitizing it frequently.
I love that. That's hilarious. Okay, so I remember you saying privately that your way home was a deal, and
It was
we talked about this on,
the
oh
previous
gosh,
episode,
I
I
don't have
think.
the episode, but it was probably episode 76 or 75
Yeah.
about so with the eruption of the Iran war,
Hmm.
Etihad has been hurting, and European, I suppose, European destination or origination type flights were heavily discounted.
Yes.
So let's tell our listeners, I guess, how you found the flight, how much the flight was, and what the itinerary was, please.
Yeah, I think I booked this. So I booked this maybe 2 months ago, or like it was shortly after the Epic Fury and all the Iran stuff happened. Um, and of course, I was just looking at Google Flights, and I saw these Mali originating fares to different places in Europe, and actually a lot of different fares, including a lot of Europe to Asia, South Asia, and such. There were actually a lot of city pairs where Etihad was basically selling for about $1,000 to fly business light, which is basically their business class fares that don't include lounge access or seat assignment.
Oh, wow.
So and they were basically putting on sale large swaths of their route network in business class. So I did make use of one of these. My flight ended up being, I think, around between $1,100 and $1,200. Again, I picked a slightly higher fare. I did the business comfort, which
Oh,
is probably
good,
about
good, good.
$100
So
more, so I could get the lounge access. But I
did
was
they
very
give
happy
you
with it.
anything more on board?
I mean, I did get. I ended up getting 3 amenity kits because I think I ended up getting 2 because someone thought I didn't have one, so I gladly accepted another when they gave it to me.
But that's not because you paid $100 more for your flight. I
No,
mean,
no.
oh,
I
okay.
did get a pair of pajamas and stuff, but other than that, no, nothing else. I mean, and I don't think I lost anything because I think I'm thinking if you were to go full fare business, maybe you'd get like chauffeur service or so. I don't think there's that much more amenities you would be entitled to.
Hmm. Okay. So you got the business class seat.
Yep,
You flew
787.
via Abu Dhabi. You paid
Yep,
extra for the
brand new terminal.
lounge.
Yes.
Were you? Oh, I haven't been to this is the midfield terminal, right?
This is whatever new terminal they've moved to. I think
The one
if
in
you
Reckoning, or
yes, the
not
one in the
Reckoning,
recent Mission Impossible movie. Yes,
the
yes,
the penultimate, not the
yes. The
latest one.
penultimate Mission Impossible movie.
I think it
Yes.
was, right?
Yeah, you're
Or
right.
was it
You're
the
right.
last one?
No. It was the second to last.
So this is that midfield terminal. What did you think of it? I haven't made it there yet.
I thought it was beautiful. I didn't really get to see a lot of it because, I kind of made a beeline to the lounge so that I could enjoy it and explore it. I didn't have an extended layover. It was good. It was still like a 2.5, 3 hour layover. So it was enough time to fully explore the lounge and have a meal and do other stuff. But I also didn't have like 6 or 7 hours, which would have probably given me more than enough time to go do some exploring of the terminal, which I didn't end up doing.
But the lounge, obviously you've been to the other lounge. What did you think about like when comparing the two business class lounges? Any meaningful differences? Anything that jumped out at you?
Very large. It spanned 3 different stories primarily.
Wow!
So there was a
Like you could
full
go
first
between the
story.
two
Oh yeah,
between the stories?
elevators and escalators.
Oh wow!
They boarded from the lounge. So I was flying an A380 between Abu Dhabi and Heathrow. So they boarded from a gate at the lounge on the 3rd floor. There were different facilities and different amenities on the different floors. Like I think the showers were on 3, the spa services, which were mostly paid, were on 1. There was an international dining area on the 1st floor with some made-to-order stations. There was kind of a small buffet on the 3rd floor and 2 larger buffets on the 5th floor, which is where I spent some time, including an a la carte area where you could.
5 floors?
I think there were 5 floors, but or they were labeled 1, 3, and 5. But I think basically
Okay.
there was no 2 or 4 for you to go to.
Sorry. I was about to say. I mean, Emirates has got a big lounge, but a 5-floor lounge that would be.
And it felt a
quite
lot
unique.
like it was the same scale as it felt in a similar scale as the Emirates Lounge, but but a little lacking. Like so the food service, what's available. A la carte, what's available on the buffet. It felt just a step less good, either what you get from Emirates or from Qatar. So, and in fact, through the entire flight, I'm thinking the service was generally very good, but the catering was a step less good, both in the lounges and in flight. And I know on the A380, the service was, I'd hit my call button and it was, you might as well not have been there, basically. It's kind of how I felt like about it.
I mean,
Once I was able to flag someone down, they were pretty quick about things. But, it took me to actually physically flag somebody down because I was like, had my breakfast and I wanted some Tabasco. And I hit the call button.
You can't have breakfast without Tabasco. I mean, if you
I need
put
a little
eggs on the plate, you got to have Tabasco.
I got to have a little kick. So my eggs were getting kind of cold by the time I got some Tabasco.
Unfortunately, that to me sounds par for the course. I mean, I
It
haven't
absolutely is.
I haven't had good service on Etihad in, I don't know, 5 years, 7 years.
Whatever it is, they're just flight attendants are just not up to the same standard.
Complacent.
I don't know if it's complacency or if it's staffing levels or if it's the way that they divide up the work, and so the junior people are the ones, going around and there's only like 2 or 3 of them. And then all the senior people are, I don't know, reading gossip magazines, but,
we're going to keep that one in there.
Speculation, mind you, speculation. But again, it was still a decent flight. The price was right. It's still, I'm not dissuading anybody from flying Etihad. It's just if you were going to fly Etihad, I'd fly them first and then fly Qatar so that your experience is better. I did it in the wrong order.
Well, I mean, you started the trip out wonderfully, and then pretty much from the Park Hyatt, It was just, a slow coast down.
It kind of was. It kind of was. That included going to Heathrow and making the transit there.
Okay, now that sounds like a jarring coast. Like that sounds like
It
a
was a pretty big
jarring
difference.
change.
Yeah, so you get off your A380, you go through pretty quickly through UK border. Actually,
Where do they fly into? T3, T4?
Terminal 4 at Heathrow,
So
which is one of the first times I've flown into Terminal 4.
The Queen's.
Terminal 4, nope. Queen's Terminal's 2.
Okay. What is
British
T4
is
then?
5.
Yeah.
Delta, Virgin, and most of One World. Terminal 3 is the one we were at before.
Yeah.
And Emirates 2.
Wait, that's 4 or 2? Or 3?
3 is where we were at last time, and which is where I was leaving from.
So who else flies into 4?
Is Air France and EY, so Etihad, and a couple other sundry airlines. 2 is Queen's Terminal, most of Star Alliance, right? And then you've got some Sky Team, the other Sky Team like Delta, Virgin, and some BA and other One World at and Emirates at Terminal 3.
Oh, so Emirates is T3 too.
Yes.
Why did I think Emirates was T4?
Well, Etihad is T4,
yeah.
But anyway. So I had to transit between Terminal 4 and Terminal 3, which they suggest you take the tube, which is what I did. I went downstairs, got on the Elizabeth line.
So you literally went landside.
I did go landside. I entered the UK.
That's so frustrating.
Which I think you have to. I don't know if there's a bus transfer airside between Terminal 3 and 4. There might be. But I decided
it's just frustrating that you have to go landside. Period. In my mind, I mean, yes, you've got 5 terminals or 4 terminals, right? Because there's no T1, right?
I don't think there's a T1. Yeah, I think it's just T2, T3, T4, T5. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, fine. It's a soapbox, but I feel like London is such a big airport. You should be able to stay airside.
Well, it's kind of the same
they've got
in
enough
JFK.
Buses and all that other stuff.
JFK is the same way in a way. You have to take the SkyTrain or whatever between.
Yeah, but they have so many different buses at Heathrow that for some terminals you can stay airside and some you
3
can't.
and 5, I think in particular has that because you've got BA flights going out of both terminals, right?
Yeah.
So 3
and
5, I feel like there's some, but that's only because you've got a lot of that, have actual transit passengers. But I'm guessing 4 doesn't have as many transiting in Heathrow.
I mean, yeah, based on who you said flies there, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you make it to T3, which is where you had to do. Now, are you staying overnight? Are you just connecting?
Have another long layover, and unlike at Barcelona, which also kind of had this option, I actually went ahead and got a day room.
Oh, that's cool.
At the Aero Hotel.
We don't talk about that very much.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing it at Barcelona as well, but Barcelona wanted a lot more money. I think they wanted like 120, maybe 140 euros for this, 4 or 6 hour day room, and I was just
you might as well just get a regular hotel room.
I was just going to say, it's like, this is a lot of money, and I was like, nah, I was priced out. Heathrow wanted 87 pounds,
Yeah.
87 pounds, a little over $100. And I was like, you know what, especially after the Barcelona, the longer layover for Barcelona, I was like, I'm not repeating this. I'm getting a day room. It was, I think, the right call. So what I did was I did. So I did schedule a 4-hour stay there, 9:30 to like 1 something. And what I did was I ended up getting there before my reserve time. I made actually use of the Plaza Premium Arrivals Lounge. There's a Plaza Premium Priority Pass. No, actually not Priority Pass. I think you'd have to use your Amex Platinum card. But there's a Plaza Premium Arrivals Lounge at Terminal 3, right before the bus area on landside.
On landside?
Landside.
Because
Arrivals landside. Now, there are showers, but you have to, they're paid showers. So even after you get in lounge entry, you have to spend another £12 if you want to use the shower facilities.
I was about to say, you put your credit card in, by the minute.
Yeah. And
that fell flat.
And I did sit there and use the Wi-Fi and had a croissant and like some Diet Coke. It's not very fancy. It definitely, unlike some of the other arrivals lounges, like it's not quite as nice as BA or Virgin's, which I do love those arrival lounges because you can basically have a full English. They'll serve you a full English breakfast.
And
Um,
you never turn down the full English.
oh my God, I love me some black pudding and a full English. That is one of the best things about Britain, if you ask me. Um, but did not get a full English, but I did get again a little bit of did putz around a little bit there and then it's run by the same people actually. Aero Hotel and Plaza Premium apparently both same run by the same company at Terminal 3. Um,
Did you try using your priority pass at the hotel?
no, I don't think they did, but they did make me sign up for their loyalty program because I think they were really incentivizing people to do that.
What'd they give you?
Because I was still like half an hour early when I got there, and they were like, "Well, we can let you in half an hour early if you sign up for the loyalty program." I'm like, "All right, fine."
Time is money.
Time is money. Anyway, great stay at this Aero Hotel. Would recommend. Good use of money. Very quick, clean, quiet room. Had a shower. Had a 4-hour nap. Woke up. Got into Terminal 3. Went straight to a Priority Pass restaurant.
Okay.
Again, exercising my city prestige.
Why didn't we do this when we were there? Or the lounges were
We
just
had a pretty big agenda.
That's true.
When we were there before.
Yeah.
And mind you, this stay, I'll preface and say, was nowhere near as nice as our lovely adventure that day.
Okay.
A few months ago.
Okay.
Number one, I was not on a one world partner. I unfortunately was not flying upper class. I could not attend the Virgin Clubhouse.
Oh, that's a shame.
There are a ton of these Priority Pass number one lounges. And I was very excited because one of them is called the number one club room. And I was reading a blog post about it. And supposedly this was, when it opened, a additional pay lounge. So it's basically like the Plaza Premium, like preferred, or first class.
Oh, kind of like what they just opened up in DFW?
Yes.
I've heard good things.
That is how it opened. That is not what I found when I entered. So anyway,
tell us more.
Yeah, so again, I had I had a nice Caesar salad for lunch at this Priority Pass restaurant. I go to this number one club's lounge, and what I had read was that for a $15 upcharge, it was going to be a more exclusive experience, and you would have a la carte dining and other things. I go in there, it's rammed, it's 1 million people. I'm like, all these people spent £15.
So much for being exclusive.
Yeah. And then I find out, no, they just took my Priority Pass and just let me in. I think there are so many of these Priority Pass lounges in Terminal 3. There's like 4 or 5 options, by the way. Because I think there's like 2 or 3 number one lounges, and then there's another Priority Pass lounge. And
so there's a number 1, there's a number 2, a number 3.
I think they're all number 1. Well, there's like 2 or 3 number 1s.
It makes perfect sense.
I'm a big it's Britain. It makes total sense. Anyway, the food offerings were dreadful.
Those are strong words.
Dreadful.
Very British words, no less. I mean,
yes.
Very appropriate.
Yes. They were quite good. That's another Britishism.
Oh, is that? Or they were fine.
So quite good is actually a negative, I think, for the British.
Where
I think where we would say it, we would sound like it's pretty good, right?
Yeah,
as Americans, but it's not what it means in Britain.
Well, and fine is feelings inside not expressed.
Yeah.
So you might have felt fine about the food.
Yeah.
And the food might have been quite good.
So I spent about 2 minutes in that lounge and made a beeline for the Amex Centurion Lounge.
Wrote off your £15 and said,
"No, I didn't.
Later.
They didn't charge me. If they had charged me, they didn't charge me £15. I think if it had been the original configuration, it probably would have been worth staying. Because I think charging £15 would probably make it a little bit more exclusive. And honestly, I think having that option at Heathrow is probably the right move. But I guess maybe they weren't making enough money from people who were willing to pay the extra £15. I know I was definitely willing to. But
they also have a lot of competition, right? I mean, that has probably got the best lounges in the entire of every terminal in the airport.
Yeah. It does, but my options today were pretty limited. I didn't visit any of the other priority pass lounges after that experience. I went to the Centurion Lounge, and
That was
actually I found
enough.
it
That was enough. You
that
wrote
was
them off. You
enough.
said,
Not that I love the Centurion Lounge. This visit was actually fairly good, compared to even our last time. And I think it was because the time of day was different because I was there in the afternoon, not the morning. So definitely less busy than when we went that for like 5 minutes that last time.
"Oh, we were
I was
there
able to find a place to
20
sit pretty
minutes.
quickly. What?
We were there at least 20 minutes.
Well, okay, fine.
Enough
Long
time to
enough
get
to have a
food."
drink.
Yeah. And it's not a bad lounge. It's just not
It's
as
not a
good as
bad
the other
lounge.
lounges.
It's just. I remember when we went. We really did have to be very assertive with our seating,
Oh
and
my, yeah. Yeah, I felt like you got up and somebody tried to like take half the
yes,
table right out from
yes,
under you.
yes,
That was that was aggressive.
it was aggressive. Not less so in the afternoon. So you didn't.
Okay,
There
that's
were
good.
open spaces that were more readily available.
Well, not a lot of people flying in the
Yeah,
afternoon, right? I mean, that
and
Virgin flight
yeah,
is one of the few.
and I thought the food offerings that day were excellent. I had the cream of mushroom soup was delicious. They had of course they had chicken thighs, but the chicken thighs were acceptable.
We
And
start with chicken thighs, we end with chicken thighs.
yep. So I definitely got some good food because I unfortunately didn't on Virgin Atlantic
Oh, that's a shame.
on my coach, which I was so I did leave and I did end up on Virgin Atlantic for my final leg. Did
Is
have a
that
row to
still a
myself.
is that
So
still a really good value? Like, is that still like what, 7,500 or 12,000
my flight was
points?
6,000 Virgin miles, which was and I would think it was a transfer bonus at the time, so probably only like 4,000 something
So
Virgin
6,000
points.
points plus how many dollars?
Probably $200+ though. So the fuel surcharges are no joke on Virgin.
Now,
So
is that before or after they raised it? Because I thought I saw in the
I think it's
news.
before they raised it. I think
Oh,
it's
okay.
because I booked this well before the Iran war.
So
So
then it's probably a little bit more than the
it's probably
200
more
now.
nowadays.
But
Yeah,
that's still a
yeah.
pretty good value. I mean,
I
when you
think from
think
a
about it,
points
it
perspective, excellent value.
if
Excellent value.
if you're points poor but you don't mind spending a little bit of cash,
Yeah,
I mean, it sounds like Virgin Atlantic's the way to go, is,
yeah.
assuming you don't mind flying economy. But it's only
I was
what, like a
flying.
6-hour flight?
Yeah, 6 hour flight, maybe seven. Yeah,
6,
7 hours
7.
block time. Um, I was, had a row to myself. It was actually somewhat empty. There was, not empty. I mean, but there was a fair number of empty seats, and enough so that I could pretty much get a row to myself when I was asked to kind of move to the kind of preferred area. Although,
They
as it turned
asked you
out,
to move?
no, I went up to the desk and said, "Hey, could I move? Could I be moved to
Oh.
the further up in the coach area because apparently you can't do it yourself. I'm a Delta Gold, which has some status on Virgin, right? Because
Oh,
of
oh,
their
okay. So you
uh,
requested based on partner status.
partner status to be moved because I couldn't do it myself on the kiosk or online.
Oh,
So,
okay.
which I thought is odd because usually, but I had my Delta credentials in there, and as a Delta lead, you should be as a Sky Team elite, you should have some capability to access that, but I guess you have to do it manually because the agent just moved me to kind of, again, to a row by myself. And the only annoying thing was the people in front reclined the whole time. So it was kind of hard to get in and out of my seats. Uh, um,
I mean,
yeah, it is what it is.
that's
So
that's an age-old argument that could take us another. I mean, that could take
I know
us
that's
to
a whole
3
other
hours.
tangent. Let's not have a 3 hour episode.
No.
But it was a perfectly fine experience. And not too much to write about other than I ordered the special meal, and I think I regretted it a little bit because the special meal was especially bad.
What was it?
And
What was it?
it was I've been trying to eat a little healthy, so I said, oh, let me try the healthy meal, and they call it the balanced meal. And so I was like, okay, let me, for the first time ever, really, I think one of the first times I've almost never ordered a special meal. I did order a special meal, and I ordered it, and what I received was like, boy, this is I'm glad I ate some food at the Centurion Lounge before the flight because I would be definitely hungry later.
Will you be sending Richard a complaint email?
It had to be real. Well, it was pretty bad, but I'm not going to bother.
Have
How about
you
this? I'm
heard?
not investing any more time into Virgin Atlantic's quality of service. So
Have you heard about that?
No, I don't know what you're. Maybe you're referring to
Okay,
something that I don't know.
I'm gonna find this and we'll include it in the show notes. I hope.
Yeah.
Uh, so Richard Branson had shared. I guess it was a flight from India, and it is perhaps the most hilarious.
Okay. No, I think I do remember. Somebody wrote an email, right?
It might have
And
been an actual letter. It was so
yes,
long
yes,
ago,
yes.
but
Okay, okay. I vaguely remember this story that you're mentioning. Okay.
okay, okay. Then we're
So I
not
know
gonna.
now. I know what you're talking about. Now I know what you're
I'll
talking
see if
about.
I can include it in the show
Okay.
notes, but
Okay.
I don't know. I get a kick out of that if I'm having a bad day or if I get a little downtime and I need a little bit of pick me up. I mean, Richard, they tr- Richard, I couldn't tell what the food was. I mean, it was just I don't know the way the way it was posted. It's just
Well, and I
it's one
normally
of those
like,
classics.
and with Virgin or British, usually what they cater on a daytime flight, it's not usually too bad. Usually the second meal is like a little tea service, so they'll have some finger sandwiches and a scone or something, and that's reasonable. I think in most cases, even in coach. So I missed out on that because the balance thing was like one piece of chicken and some of your favorite quinoa. Um,
So it sounds
was
like it was a Weight Watchers meal.
It was. It was. And again, another bad decision made. Um, I will say was able to do some in-flight purchases. Virgin is another airline that still does duty free on board. So I did buy some tequila, and Chase has already refunded me on my Ritz-Carlton card
Oh, that's
with my
great.
travel credit.
Did
So
you
free
remember to take it
tequila.
off the plane?
I did remember to take it off the plane this time.
Because I got
So
some rhubarb gin and I did forget.
no, it went in my backpack. It was remembered. My mom is enjoying it today. And
I'm glad to
thank
hear.
you, Ritz Carlton card and your travel credit. So um, I actually got my message today, secure message saying that they had refunded me using the my $300 travel credit from the Ritz Carlton card.
Oh,
So another interesting thing for you Ritz Carlton card members out there, if you happen to be flying one of these airlines that still does duty free, pretty fun way to utilize your Ritz Carlton travel credit.
with the with some known strategies on the Amex Platinum not working anymore, I wonder whether or not duty free might work.
I don't think
Probably
an
not.
airline. I don't think the airlines that are qualifying for the fee reimbursement offer in-flight purchases other than like snack boxes, right? That's my problems. I don't think because it's mostly domestic airlines that are on that list that Amex is
Wait,
providing
domestic airlines don't have duty free?
in the air on an international flight. When's the last time you flew on an international flight with an American carrier where they offer duty free?
Um,
I think it
in
was
all
another
fairness,
decade.
I'm trying to remember the last time I flew on an American carrier internationally.
I thought you flew. Did you fly AA? You flew AA first with me last year.
I did, yeah. I thought they walked around with duty free.
No,
Did they not?
you are hallucinating, my friend.
I huh.
British Airways might still do that. I think they still have their high flyer or their high shops or something.
I think it's high
Um,
shops.
high shops.
Oh,
But
high time shops,
or
something.
that sounds
Probably
like
high
maybe
shops.
some. Anyway,
I know nothing. I know nothing of that. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna fly. I think I might or not. I don't know. There's a chance that I might fly a U.S. flight carrier overseas at some point in the next 6 months, and I will report back. I could have swore they did some level of duty free, but maybe not.
I
My gosh.
number one, this just as you're more observant about what version of champagne is being served. I'm probably much more observant about what type of duty free is available,
That's a
and
fair
I can
point.
tell you with near certainty. Kalshi is saying about 99 to 1. No, the American carriers are not providing any duty free services. This has gone the way of SkyMall catalog.
I feel like they're missing out on a revenue stream. Come
Well, they
on.
definitely make money off me because I do all kinds of duty free purchases.
That's my point. They're missing out on a revenue stream. Stop
Um,
talking about removing the olive and bring back the duty free.
but it's a kind of questionable, flying, bottles of liquid, which are quite heavy, back and forth across the Atlantic, unsold many times, So you
Yeah.
kind of wonder how heavy the duty free cart weighs, maybe a couple 100 pounds. It's just sitting there and, yeah, you might get a couple of purchases here and there, but like, given the cost of jet fuel these days, I don't know if this would be the time to be making the business case for in-flight duty free.
I mean, okay, I get it. Especially when you think about the reports that people that Americans are drinking less, and I assume Americans are smoking less. Two of the areas of duty free that are
That's
probably
a good
the
point.
most
I don't even know if cigarettes
common.
were one of the options in the catalog,
I don't know. They're really big in duty free shops in the airports.
especially with like ugly like skulls and scary lung photos.
A cigarette pack is nothing if it doesn't have the skull and bones, man. The
I
skull and
know.
crossbones.
It is
I
entertaining
mean,
seeing how they're packaged in some of these other countries.
they really like, and the thing that cracks me up is there's still people smoking. Like, I shouldn't say that. I'm not disparaging smokers. Like,
It sounded like you just did.
we were in Paris, and there's a lot of folks that are like vaping. Like, in fact, there are people vaping in the hotel lounge, and then there was
Because I
a
like my
Canadian
electronic cigarette. Oh,
yeah. Well,
stupid
there was a
America.
Canadian that felt very strongly about it. And I thought that it was going to be an issue, but that's another story. But my point being is like, I mean, there's still a fair bit of a population of smokers
Especially in Europe.
in Europe, and like literally they're carrying around, like, you can't look at a cigarette pack without seeing, like, skull and crossbones and, like, the little nuclear symbol, and they're still pulling it out.
It doesn't seem to be dissuading the French. I guess. It seemed to be doing a good job even without that in the U.S. I mean, you do feel like there's the amount of cigarette and smoking cessation that's happening in the U.S. is pretty good overall.
But I feel like
I
I feel like the vaping has really gotten some increase.
maybe there's
like,
been some substitution, right? Some people
yeah,
who
I think
the
definitely
smokers.
substitution.
I think maybe some of them have moved on to vaping for the convenience sake, in that maybe it's a little bit more acceptable, whether it be socially or otherwise, logistically, versus regular smoke.
I
But
I, I I I don't know what makes one more attractive than the other. I just noticed that, like, you went from, you know, Marlboro Man to Jewel Light, or Jewel Light. I think Jewel was one of the. I don't
with
know.
your two U's,
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what vaping is. I just remember there was a company called Jewel, and so I figured Jewel person. I don't even know if that company's still around. Okay, this is probably something that we probably
this is
should
one of
just
those
cut
tangents
out
where, like, why did we go down this road? I don't know.
because of duty free. Duty free. You know what? I think we've covered a ton of topics here, Tom.
I think we did cover that. Well, anyway,
you're making me want to go back to the Maldives.
Otherwise, all things considered, I'm surprised how I did not have any real irregular operations.
I'm just surprised with all that economy flying that you actually survived.
Hey,
I wouldn't have.
I'm telling you, this has been my thing to you. I'm all about the coach flying over the Atlantic lately, man, because I find that it is. I find that I don't see the value with the premium class when it's like a 5 or 6 hour flight. I'm not feeling it. So
we've got this episode and a bunch of other episodes. You're going to fly economy to Europe and probably back in another couple of weeks.
Yeah,
and you're going to report back on that one of these days. With this entry exit system, I almost feel like, or maybe it's not the entry exit system. Maybe it's just luck. One of these days, your luck is going to run out, man.
I'll tell you this much:
I'm not wishing it.
we are pushing the envelope. I am flying back through Newark. So yes, we are.
Oh
pushing
wait,
the
where do you
envelope.
fly out of other than Newark?
Barcelona again. My favorite airport now.
Oh man.
Barcelona, Charles de Gaulle, Newark is my route back home.
How do we get a bet on Polymarket? Like, is that how do we arrange that?
Yeah, and then I'm doing the same thing that we've done before, which is then doing one-way rental from Newark to Dulles. So one-way car rental.
I mean, I think that makes sense. I think that makes total sense. It just makes no sense to, sit around in the airport when you can just pop in. And I mean, yeah, no.
I had alternatively booked an overnight stay in Newark and then thought about taking Amtrak. Actually, I have to cancel my Amtrak tickets. I had some Amtrak tickets as well.
Wow, an overnight in Newark and then Amtrak.
Yes.
That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Well, I mean, I don't know about taking the midnight train, to Georgia, no, to DC from Newark, but
come on,
I
who
think
doesn't?
after an international coach flight, I at least think I want to get some sleep. So
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, but I hear it's great. I mean, the midnight train, you could get off at Baltimore Penn Station, and I mean, just imagine the experience you'd have, or even Union Station in DC.
Oh,
I mean,
I've never
talk about a colorful
Sherwin.
way to end your experience.
and smell, and what is it, flavorful for the nose. So.
Oh gosh. Okay, I'm not going to take that.
Gosh.
Yeah, I mean, you're putting so much bait out. I've taken so much bait already.
I think we just passed the 2-hour mark, and I think this episode needs to end. I'm telling you.
Well, that's the show. Thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed listening.
If you've enjoyed this episode, consider becoming a Milenomics Patreon member and get access to even more talk about urine and other in-depth miles, points, and travel content.
Oh my God, you're going to keep that in, I'm sure. Until then, we hope your next story is a 2-hour travel story.
Oh my God. Oh, that was so fun.